Welcome to Wishlist Workshop Part 1, how to grow your wish list if you're a small indie game studio with no marketing budget or YouTube connections. So if you're a small indie game studio and you're having doubts about how to grow your wish list, then here's a step-by-step guide on how to build your fan base. And in this Wishlist workshop, I'll be sharing with you, new ideas that might go against, what feels intuitive. But stay with me because, success is often counterintuitive. Also, my goal here is to help you build a wish list system that, works long-term and is sustainable. So what I mean is, a game dev might see a huge spike in wish lists because, a YouTuber mentioned their game or they were part of a Steam Fest or, they had a post on Reddit that had a lot of traction or, they even paid for ads. But after a few days, these wish lists slow down and, they see a spike, but then after that, there's no other growth, right? So my point is chasing spikes isn't a good strategy because then you're relying on other people and other platforms. So no, in this wish list workshop you're about to learn is focused on slow, long-term, sustainable growth. So you'll learn how to organically grow your wish list so that you're not always chasing spikes and you're relying on yourself rather than relying on other people and other platforms. Also, this is part 1 of 7. So in part 1, I'll show you the whole framework and how it works. Then later in other parts, I'll go into more details. So don't forget to subscribe and like, and so that you don't miss the other parts. Also, my goal here is not just to give you ideas and make you go, that's interesting, right? And, I'll think about that. No, what my goal here is to, get you off your butt and start taking action. So this workshop is not a quick fix. It will take time. And if anybody tells you that you can get, 10,000 wish lists by doing, this simple trick, they're clickbaiting you and they're lying, right? Because, success takes work, it takes commitment, and you have to have perseverance, right? So if you're with me, if you're looking for a solid strategy to help you, increase your wish list organically and over time, and so that when you launch your game, it's a financial success, then here's what you need to know and here's what you need to do. All right, in this part, I want to talk about how building relationships and not marketing leads to wish lists and game sales. So when you're a small indie game studio and you don't have a budget, to spend, 15,000 on Facebook or, Google ads, and if you don't have any connections with, a big YouTuber with, over, 50,000 subs, or you don't have a fan base that will, spread word of mouth for you, then you need a different marketing strategy. In fact, it's not marketing that you need. Even when small game studios do have a budget and have, industry connections with YouTubers and journalists, they still fail at, building sustainable wish lists and getting, game sales. Because like I said, a game dev might see a spike in wish lists because of all this, ads and YouTuber action. Then they got to do another ad push, right? They got to put in the same amount of effort just to get another spike. And if you do have resources and money to keep doing ad pushes, then great, keep doing what's working, right? But if you don't have the resources, connections, or money, what you need is a relationship building strategy instead of a marketing strategy. So let me show you how this works. Then later I'll show you a step-by-step strategy you can easily follow to start, growing your game's wish list right away. Okay, first let me share a quick story of how all of this works. So back in 2024, my family and I were visiting Amsterdam and we're at the zoo downtown. And I saw another family and the dad was wearing a Toronto Raptors hat, right? So, being from Ontario and a Raptors fan, I struck up a conversation with him right there, right? And I never, just start talking to strangers because it's weird and I don't want to interrupt, people doing what they're doing, right? But because, this guy and me had something in common, it just felt natural, right? And it didn't feel like I was interrupting him. So what's my point here? How does this help you, grow your game's wish list? Well, as a game developer, you're interested in the details of making games, right? So naturally, that's what you gravitate to when talking about and marketing your game, right? The process of, making game is interesting to you, so that's what you feel comfortable talking about. But because you're so close to the process of making games, you're blind to what players, gravitate to, right? So in other words, players don't care about the process of how you made your game. They only care about why your game is fun, why it's interesting, or why it's entertaining. It's all about them, right? What's in it for me? And this is one of the chief reasons why developers fail to grab a player's attention and why players don't, wishlist games, because game devs fail to appreciate the player's side. They don't know how to communicate directly to a player because they're coming from a dev, perspective. So think about it this way. Let's say you're in public and you see somebody wearing a hat with the, the Celeste logo on it, the indie game. And you're like, oh, somebody else who loves indie games, right? So you go up to them and you tell them that you're an indie game dev and then you start talking about the process and the game design and code and art and design and all that stuff, right? And that person probably isn't going to care, right? In fact, that person will feel that you interrupted them and will probably want to leave, right? So what I'm getting at here is that there's a communication mismatch because your interest in game development doesn't match the interest in, that person who likes Celeste or indie games, right? There's no common ground. to begin, a relationship with them, right? And even though you might, think that game dev and, indie games come together, but in their mind, game dev is not the same as, playing an actual game, right? My point here is most game devs approach potential fans wearing, their game dev hat. But if you just take off that game dev hat and put on, a player hat, you'll grab their attention. Why? Well, because as a small indie game dev, you can't, market at players. In fact, marketing doesn't work for small game devs. And that's because to the player, all of this self-promotion feels interruptive and it doesn't feel natural and it doesn't work because it doesn't, directly talk to them, right? So a better strategy is to, basically stop marketing at players and instead to focus on finding, like-minded people and start building a relationship based on a common interest, right? So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here's a step-by-step strategy you can use right now to start growing your wish list numbers. All right, let's get into grow your wish list step 1. So that is find common ground with players. So what I'm about to share with you will be counterintuitive to what you've probably heard. So stick with me here, okay? And the idea here is not to market your game and basically forget about, yourself, forget about your game features, forget about, trying to get your name out there and forget about, trying to self-promote. Right now, your focus is finding a common ground so that you can connect with people, connect with potential fans. So how do you do this? Well, you got to meet them where they're at, right? You got to find a commonality, just like that dude I, met in Amsterdam with the Raptors hat, right? We had a commonality and it wasn't weird to talk to him and it didn't feel like I was interrupting him and his family. It's the same with your game, right? When you just, pump out content and focus only on self-promotion, all you're doing is adding to the noise, and to the player, it just feels like all this crap, content, all this stuff coming at them is interrupting them, and it's just trying to steal their attention and they ignore it. But a better strategy is not to interrupt people with, self-promotion and marketing, but to find a common ground with players and you have them, basically come to you, right? So in other words, you don't market, you give people something interesting so that they come to you. So let me show you exactly what I mean. To find a commonality with your potential fans, think back to what motivated you to make your game in the first place. Because chances are, other people probably feel the same way as you did, when you wanted to make your game. But the trick is you got to communicate that, right? And how do you do that? Well, here's some questions I want you to think about, and actually I want you to answer, right? So first question is, what games inspired you to make your game? Next, what do you love about those games that inspired you? Then, what do you hate about those games that inspired you? Next, what do you like best about your genre? And then, what do you hate about your genre? And then, how is your game trying to make your genre better? And then next, what do you think makes your features cool and unique? And then next, why do you think a player will have fun with your game's features? And what features have you added that are usually found in your genre? And then explain in more detail why you decided to to add certain features. And then last one, explain why those features help your genre better. And don't worry right now, I have a PDF blueprint you can download with all these questions and all these steps that you can follow, after this video. So by answering these questions, you're thinking less like a game dev and more like a player. And this subtle difference is very important because if you want to cut through the noise, you need to connect where your player is already, right? You can't interrupt them and say, hey, by the way, I'm a game dev and you like indie games. You can't approach them that way. You got to meet them where they're already at. Again, think back to my hat examples. So for example, say you have a hat that says, Go.Game Engine on it, right? With that logo. And when you go talk to a player and they have a hat that says Celeste, that person will be confused as to why you're bugging them, right? Even though you think that there's going to be a connection because you both like games, right? But if you put on your, Celeste hat and you approach another person with that same hat, it cuts through the noise and there's no confusion, and you and your player have an instant bond because the message is clear, right? There is no noise between you and the message, right? So that's why I want you to answer those questions above. And again, I have a PDF blueprint you can download to help you with all these steps. But basically, I want you to start making your message to potential players more clear so that there's no noise between you, your game, and your players. And I want you to think like a player thinks, because when you think like a player and you go talk to them, they won't feel like you're interrupting them and you're just, trying to self-promote. Because if you just try to self-promote and, talk about yourself and your own interests, then people will just ignore you, because all day players are bombarded with marketing and self-promotion all the time, right? There's always something trying to grab their attention. Okay, let's move on to step 2, which is go where your players are hanging out. So this will sound counterintuitive, but your potential players are not hanging out on Twitter or Reddit or YouTube or TikTok. So think about it this way. It's like having a comedian as an opening act at a rock concert, right? There's an audience expectation mismatch. At a comedy club, fans are quiet and attentive, right? But at a music concert, fans are loud and moving and they're excited, right? And the thing is, jokes rely on pauses and audience, attention. And at most concerts, people aren't, attentive like that. They're impatient and they're waiting for, their band to start playing, right? They're not going to give the comedian the attention they need, to pull off their jokes, right? So my point is, yes, social media has a huge crowd, but there is an audience expectation mismatch between your game and that audience on social media. So most people are not on social media, to window shop for small niche indie games, right? I'm not saying that, social media can't work. There are games that, successfully use this, right? Strategy. But if you tried social media and it didn't work for you consistently, then you know what I'm talking about. So what do you do then? Well, you got to go where your potential fans are and forget about social media. Again, counterintuitive, but I want you to take this seriously because where are your fans? Well, they're on Steam, right? Steam has a built-in content platform where you can start, connecting with players right away. And basically that's, their community hub. So the community hub is where you can start posting content and directly connect with players. And so also another issue with social media is people rarely leave the platform that they're on. So for example, a person might scroll TikTok, find your game and give you a like, but they will rarely go into your bio, search your Steam link, and then go, on your Steam page and then wishlist your game, right? There's just too many steps and people are lazy and they're not going to do those extra steps just to get that wishlist, right? But if that same person finds you on Steam, they're more likely to click on your wishlist button because one, there's no extra steps. It's really easy, right? There's no friction. And number two, there's no audience, expectation mismatch. The reason they're on Steam is because they're probably exploring for new and exciting games, right? Or to play their own games, right? But if they're window shopping, they're in the mood to, find a new game. So in this step, in step 2, I want you to make sure that you have all your, your Steam page set up, and you don't need a professional Steam page done right now though. And don't worry if you don't have any art or screenshots or trailers that, are marketable, right? You can have a coming soon page up because right now, the goal is to start getting, the snowball rolling as soon as you can, because if you're 3 months, before launch, then it's kind of too late. So you want to start as soon as you can. Again, it might seem counterintuitive, right? Because how can you market your game if you don't have good marketing material, right? Isn't it better just to wait when you have actual stuff to show? Well, remember, you're not marketing. You're trying to attract like-minded fans and building a relationship with them, and relationships take time to build. And also, just a quick side note, if you are, 3 months before launch, then start doing this anyway, because even after your game launch, you still can build an audience and still get game sales. And in fact, that's what Steam says in their marketing, documentation, that even games after launch still can succeed. Okay, let's keep going with step number 3, and that is commit to posting once a week on your Steam Community Hub. Okay, so you know how in step 1 I asked you all those questions, and again, you can download the PDF blueprint to, get those questions again. The link is in the description below. So what I want you to do is in your Steam Community Hub, there's a news tab. And in the news tab, I want you to take the first question and just answer it and then post it, right? So then the next week after that, answer the next question. So I basically gave you 11 weeks worth of content that is designed to attract your target player. And also I promise you that when you answer these questions, you'll get even more ideas on interesting content that you can post. So you'll never run out of content to post, right? But here's the key. Most game devs, they tell me that they've tried posting on their community hub and still they get no traction. Their wish lists don't go up. But then what I do is I go check their, Steam page, go to their community hub, and they maybe have posted 2 or 3 times, right? But okay, you got to remember this. When a big studio pays Facebook, $15,000, say for example, they'll probably reach, for example, say 10,000 people. So in one shot, this studio reached a lot of players, right? That's why it's so expensive to advertise, because you have access to a lot of people right away in one shot. But when building a relationship with fans, it's not a one-time thing, right? It's like going up to a new person and saying, hey, let's be friends. It kind of doesn't work like that, right? Relationships take time to build and nurture, right? And so a post here and there in your community hub isn't going to work because relationships aren't built in one day. And yeah, if you have the money, to spend on advertising, you can kind of shortcut all of this, right? You can pay Google or Twitter or Facebook or TikTok, whatever, and they'll show your game to a lot of people all at once. and that will spike your wish list, right? But then, like I said, there will be a plateau, and then you got to go do another marketing push and do it all over again, right? Because that's how advertising works, right? You got to keep pumping money into it for it to work, right? But if you're a small indie game studio and the only marketing you can do is free marketing, then your strategy needs to be long-term sustainable growth. And that means making a commitment to posting once a week on your Steam community hub and talking about what players want to talk about. And over time, players will find you and will become, diehard fans. And, these fans will be the ones that will wish list and buy your game. And in the beginning, it will be discouraging because things will go pretty slow, right? But as you post more, through the weeks, you put out more content, people will find you, and that snowball, of wish lists will grow faster and faster. But it means that you have to focus on long-term sustainable growth. It means that you have to put the focus on the player and talk about what they want to talk about. And it means that you have to commit to posting once a week. And I promise you, your commitment and your persistence will pay off because players will find you, players will connect with you, but you can't just do it once, right? Building relationships take time. Okay, so here's your action step right now. So you can download the PDF blueprint below and then do this right now. There's my first question, which is what games inspired you to make your game, right? Then go to your Steam Community Hub and in the news section, answer that question. And this is your very first step into getting people to find you and wishlisting your game, right? And then next week, go answer the next question and do this for the next few weeks for the rest of the questions, right? All right, that's the basic framework of the wishlist workshop, right? So that's what I want to talk about in part 1. So in part 2 and other parts, I want to get into more details about how all of this works so that way you internalize it and you're more successful when you execute the strategy. So remember to subscribe and like so that you'll get notified when part 2 comes out and the other parts come out. All right, my name is Dariusz. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and good luck marketing your game. Good luck getting those wish lists. I'll see you in part 2. Later.